Have you ever wondered what food has more protein than eggs, one of the most celebrated sources of nutrition on the planet? Most people don't realize that a humble superfood tucked quietly into traditional diets for centuries can actually deliver more protein per gram than eggs, while also offering compounds that fight inflammation, slow aging, and even sharpen cognitive performance. Here's why this matters. As we age, one of the most serious threats we face isn't just wrinkles or gray hair, it's the silent loss of muscle and resilience. Sarcopenia. The gradual decline of muscle mass and strength begins as early as our 40 and accelerates in our 60 and beyond. Muscle isn't just about strength, it's your body's largest metabolic organ, helping regulate blood sugar, maintain balance, and protect against falls. When we lose muscle, we don't just lose power, we lose independence. Now, the fascinating part is this. Researchers in nutrition and aging have shown that maintaining muscle health and metabolic vitality isn't just about how much protein you eat, but the quality and distribution of that protein. Eggs are powerful, yes, but new studies are pointing toward plant-based protein sources like spirulina, a blue-green algae, and quinoa, which don't just rival eggs in protein density, but deliver antioxidants, vitamins, and unique compounds that fight oxidative stress, one of the primary drivers of aging. Think of oxidative stress like rust slowly forming inside your body. Left unchecked, it accelerates everything from memory decline to joint stiffness, but certain superfoods rich in polyphenols, amino acids, and micronutrients act like antioxidant repair crews, constantly cleaning up the damage and keeping your systems younger longer. In this video, we're going to unpack 6 powerful insights from neuroscience, nutrition, and behavioral science on how super protein foods can extend not just your lifespan, but your health span, the years you live with energy, clarity, and independence. You'll discover why the brain thrives on certain amino acids, how timing your protein intake can supercharge focus and recovery, and which overlooked superfoods can rival or even beat eggs in the fight against aging. So let's dive in, because the science here may truly change how you think about your daily meals and even how you think about aging itself. When most people think of protein, eggs are the gold standard. They're inexpensive, versatile, and contain all 9 essential amino acids, making them what nutrition scientists call a complete protein. But here's the surprising truth. There are foods that actually contain more protein per gram than eggs, and bring along additional compounds that eggs simply don't provide. One of the most fascinating examples is spirulina, a blue-green algae that's been used as a staple in diets from the Aztecs to modern-day NASA astronauts. Gram for gram, spirulina contains nearly double the protein density of eggs. Beyond that, it's packed with iron, B vitamins, magnesium, and phycocyanin, a pigment protein complex shown in research to have strong antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. What this means is that spirulina doesn't just feed your muscles, it helps protect your cells from damage that accelerates aging. Another contender is quinoa, sometimes called the mother grain. Unlike most plant foods, quinoa is also a complete protein, and it carries fiber, magnesium, and polyphenols that help regulate blood sugar and reduce systemic inflammation. In studies comparing animal proteins and plant-based proteins, diets that included high-quality plant proteins like quinoa were associated with lower risks of cardiovascular disease and improved longevity. Now, why is this so important? Because as we age, our protein needs actually increase. Here's what the research shows. After age 50, the body becomes less efficient at using dietary protein to repair and build muscle, a phenomenon known as anabolic resistance. That means that seniors may need 20–30% more protein per meal compared to someone in their 20s just to trigger the same muscle-building response. If we rely only on small amounts of protein or focus on incomplete sources, we're essentially starving our muscles of the raw material they need. Think of your muscles like a construction site. Protein is the building material, but not all materials are the same. Eggs provide a solid foundation, yes, but spirulina and quinoa bring not just bricks, but also reinforcement steel and insulation, extra layers of protection that make the entire structure more durable against wear and tear. Here's a practical tool. Try incorporating 1–2 teaspoons of spirulina powder into a morning smoothie. Pair it with fruits like blueberries and bananas for taste and an added antioxidant punch. For quinoa, swap it in as a base instead of rice or pasta. By making these small substitutions, you're stacking the deck in your favor, giving your muscles higher quality building blocks and your cells more protection against oxidative stress. And let's not forget the bigger picture. Oxidative stress is one of the core drivers of aging. Free radicals, unstable molecules produced by normal metabolism, pollution, and even stress damage DNA, proteins, and cell membranes over time. Antioxidant-rich proteins like spirulina act like molecular firefighters, neutralizing these free radicals before they cause damage. This isn't just about preventing wrinkles, it's about preserving the function of your muscles, your memory, and even your mitochondria, the energy powerhouses inside your cells. So when you think about protein, think beyond eggs. Think about density, completeness, and what else that protein source brings to the table. Foods like spirulina and quinoa are more than just protein, they're protective agents, working quietly in the background to slow aging and extend vitality. The key idea here is simple. By expanding your protein sources to include these super protein foods, you're not just feeding your muscles, you're actively defending your future health. When we talk about protein, most people picture muscles, biceps, legs, strength. But here's what often gets overlooked. Protein is just as critical for your brain. In fact, the very molecules that regulate your mood, focus, and motivation, neurotransmitters, are built from amino acids, the building blocks of protein. Let's break this down. Every time you eat protein, your body digests it into individual amino acids. Some of these amino acids act like raw ingredients for neurotransmitters. For example, tryptophan is converted into serotonin, the chemical that stabilizes mood, promotes a sense of calm, and even regulates sleep. Tyrosine is turned into dopamine, which fuels motivation, drive, and reward-seeking behavior. Glutamine supports the production of GABA, the brain's primary calming neurotransmitter. Without enough of these building blocks, the brain simply can't make the chemicals it needs to help you feel balanced and mentally sharp. Here's what the research shows. Diets higher in high-quality protein are consistently linked to better cognitive performance and emotional resilience, particularly in older adults. One study found that seniors with higher protein intake had lower rates of depression and cognitive decline compared to those eating less. Why? Because maintaining neurotransmitter balance is like maintaining an orchestra. If one section is missing, the whole symphony sounds off. Think about those days when your focus collapses in the afternoon, or when small frustrations feel overwhelming. It's tempting to blame willpower alone, but often it's your neurochemistry running low on fuel. A lunch high in refined carbs and low in protein spikes blood sugar, then crashes it, leaving your brain starved for amino acids just when you need clarity and energy. In contrast, a protein-rich meal supplies a steady stream of the very molecules your brain uses to keep thoughts sharp and emotions stable. A simple analogy, imagine your brain as a high-performance sports car. Neurotransmitters are the fuel, but amino acids are the crude oil from which that fuel is refined. If you don't supply enough raw material, no amount of fine-tuning will make the engine run smoothly. Here's a tool to apply. Distribute your protein intake evenly throughout the day instead of saving it all for dinner. Aiming for 20-30 grams of high-quality protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner helps maintain a steady supply of amino acids in your bloodstream. That means your brain has constant access to the building blocks it needs to keep mood, focus, and motivation on track. Super protein foods like spirulina, quinoa, lentils, and chia seeds are particularly effective here because they don't just provide amino acids, they also carry antioxidants and minerals that protect the neurons themselves. For example, spirulina's phycocyanin has been studied for its neuroprotective effects, reducing inflammation in brain tissue. Quinoa delivers magnesium, which supports healthy brain signaling and has been shown to lower anxiety. So let me ask you, have you ever noticed that your best thinking often happens after a balanced breakfast, one with eggs, yogurt, or plant proteins, compared to mornings where you grab only coffee and toast? That's not coincidence. That's amino acids at work, priming your brain for performance. The empowering insight here is simple. Protein is not just about muscle maintenance, it's about mental mastery. By choosing protein-rich foods, you are literally feeding your brain the chemicals it needs to stay sharp, calm, and resilient, no matter your age. And if this is sparking insights for you, consider subscribing. I'll be sharing more evidence-based tools like this, designed to elevate both your physical vitality and your mental performance. Most people think of protein intake in terms of total daily grams. Am I getting enough? But here's the nuance that often gets missed when you consume protein, maybe just as important as how much. The body has what scientists call the muscle protein synthesis window. After physical activity, and especially in the morning after fasting overnight, your muscles and brain are primed to absorb and use protein more efficiently. It's as if the cells open their doors wide, saying, give us the building blocks and we'll get to work. Miss that window and the efficiency drops. Here's what the research shows. People who distribute protein intake evenly across breakfast, lunch, and dinner, roughly 25-30 grams each meal, experience greater muscle growth, improved metabolic control, and sharper cognition than those who eat very little protein early in the day and overload at dinner. In fact, a landmark study found that older adults who spread protein more evenly had significantly less age-related muscle loss compared to those who followed the traditional pattern of a carb-heavy breakfast, light lunch, and protein-heavy dinner. Think about how most of us start the day. Toast, cereal, or maybe just coffee. That's like trying to run your car without fuel in the tank. By mid-afternoon, energy crashes, focus slips, and cravings spike. Now contrast that with a morning meal that includes high-quality protein, eggs with vegetables, Greek yogurt with chia seeds, or a smoothie with spirulina. The amino acids flood your bloodstream, supporting neurotransmitter production, stabilizing blood sugar, and setting you up with a foundation of sustained energy. This principle applies just as powerfully after movement. Exercise sensitizes muscle tissue, making it extra responsive to amino acids for repair and growth. That's why protein within an hour or two after activity is so effective. It's not just about bodybuilders, it's about anyone who wants to maintain mobility, independence, and resilience as they age. Every walk, stretch session, or strength routine is an opportunity to open the window for protein to do its work. Here sets a practical protocol. Morning, aim for 25-30 grams of protein at breakfast. If eggs aren't your go-to, try quinoa porridge with nuts or a spirulina smoothie with almond butter. Post-activity, whether it's a workout, a brisk walk, or gardening, follow up with a protein-rich snack within 60-90 minutes. Even a small serving, like a handful of pumpkin seeds or yogurt, primes your muscles for repair. Evening, keep protein steady, but balance it with lighter, easy-to-digest options to avoid overloading the digestive system at night. Here's a question to consider. Have you noticed how differently your body feels after a protein-rich breakfast compared to a carb-heavy one? That shift in energy, focus, and mood is your biology signaling the power of timing. Now let's connect this to aging. Sarcopenia, the age-related decline of muscle, isn't just a slow erosion. It's often accelerated by years of underfueling at the right times. By redistributing protein intake and hitting those key windows, you're not only protecting your muscles, you're also defending your brain, balancing your hormones, and creating a daily rhythm of energy stability. The takeaway is clear. It's not only what you eat, but when you eat it, that influences how well your body and brain can use protein. By honoring your body's natural timing, morning priming, and post-activity windows, you multiply the benefits of every gram of protein you consume. When we think of protein, the gut isn't the first thing that comes to mind. But here's the fascinating truth. Protein-rich superfoods don't just build muscles and fuel the brain. They also shape the trillions of microbes living in your digestive tract. And these microbes in turn send powerful signals back to your brain, influencing everything from mood and memory to immunity and inflammation. This two-way communication system is known as the gut-brain axis. Imagine it as a busy highway running between your intestines and your brain, with constant traffic carrying chemical messengers in both directions. What you eat determines what kinds of cars get on that highway and whether they bring healing signals or damaging ones. Here's what the research shows. Certain protein-rich plant foods act as prebiotics, meaning they feed beneficial bacteria. For example, quinoa and lentils contain fibers and resistant starches that your gut microbes ferment into short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. These compounds reduce inflammation, strengthen the gut lining, and even influence neurotransmitter systems in the brain. In simple terms, the food you eat can directly shape how calm or anxious you feel, how sharp your focus is, and how resilient your immune system becomes. Spirulina adds another layer of intrigue. Studies suggest it has antimicrobial properties, that selectively reduce harmful bacteria while supporting beneficial strains. It's as though spirulina acts like a skilled gardener, pulling weeds while nourishing the healthiest plants in your microbiome. This balance is crucial because an imbalanced microbiome called dysbiosis has been linked to depression, brain fog, and even accelerated cognitive decline. Have you ever noticed how your mood shifts after a heavy, greasy meal compared to a light, balanced one? That's not just blood sugar at work, it's also your gut microbes producing different cocktails of chemicals in response to what you ate. A diet rich in refined carbs and processed foods tends to feed microbes that pump out inflammatory compounds. In contrast, protein-rich superfoods paired with fiber feed microbes that create calming anti-inflammatory messengers. Here sets a practical tool. Build at least one meal a day around a protein source that also supports gut health. For instance, quinoa salad with chickpeas, leafy greens, and olive oil. A spirulina smoothie with banana and flaxseed, lentil soup with vegetables and spices. These meals don't just provide amino acids, they also feed the microbiome in ways that ripple up to the brain. Another protocol is timing protein with fiber. Pairing your protein intake with fiber-rich vegetables and whole grains slows digestion, stabilizes blood sugar, and ensures a steady release of amino acids. This combination prevents the energy spikes and crashes that strain both the gut and the brain. Why does this matter for aging? Because chronic inflammation, much of it originating in the gut, is a silent accelerator of cognitive decline, depression, and frailty in older adults. By supporting the gut-brain axis with protein-rich, microbiome-friendly foods, you're not only fueling muscles, but actively buffering your brain against the effects of aging. Here's the empowering insight. Every meal you eat is either training your gut-brain highway to carry signals of clarity, calm, and vitality, or signals of stress, inflammation, and decline. You have the steering wheel. And if this idea resonates with you, take a moment to like this video. It helps us reach more people who are ready to protect their brain, body, and future with science-based tools like these. When we think of protein, we often isolate it as a nutrient category. Protein for muscles, carbs for energy, fats for hormones. But nature rarely packages nutrients in isolation. And that's where super protein foods hold a distinct advantage over many traditional protein sources. They don't just deliver amino acids, they come bundled with antioxidants, polyphenols, and micronutrients that create a synergistic effect against aging. Here's what the research shows. Oxidative stress, the accumulation of free radical damage over time, is one of the primary drivers of cellular aging. It damages DNA, weakens mitochondria, your cell's powerhouses, and accelerates the breakdown of tissues. Protein alone can help rebuild what's broken, but if free radicals are constantly attacking the construction site, the repairs can never keep up. That's where antioxidants come in. They neutralize free radicals before they cause harm. Now imagine what happens when a food delivers both high-quality protein and antioxidants in one package. You're not just repairing damage, you're also reducing the rate at which damage accumulates in the first place. This is the longevity formula: protein for rebuilding, antioxidants for protecting. Take spirulina as an example. Not only does it contain more protein by weight than eggs, but it's also rich in phycocyanin, a pigment with potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. Studies suggest phycocyanin protects neurons from oxidative stress and may even enhance mitochondrial efficiency. That means better energy, sharper cognition, and slower age-related decline. Quinoa brings a similar dual power. Its amino acids support muscle repair, while its polyphenols like quercetin and camphorol fight inflammation and oxidative stress. These compounds have been linked to reduced risk of chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and even certain cancers. In essence, quinoa doesn't just feed the body, it defends it. Think of it like maintaining a house. Protein is the lumber, bricks, and nails needed for repairs. Antioxidants are the weatherproofing that prevents storms from tearing the house apart in the first place. If you only focus on protein without antioxidants, you're constantly fixing damage without ever stopping the leaks. A practical tool here is to deliberately combine protein sources with antioxidant-rich foods. For example, a quinoa bowl with colorful vegetables and olive oil. A spirulina smoothie blended with berries. Lentils cooked with turmeric and ginger, both powerful anti-inflammatory spices. This approach stacks benefits, giving your body what it needs to rebuild while shielding it from further damage. Here's another layer. Antioxidants also protect your collagen and connective tissues. Collagen is the scaffolding that keeps skin firm, joints resilient, and blood vessels flexible. Free radicals break down collagen over time, leading to wrinkles, stiffness, and vascular aging. Protein plus antioxidants is like delivering not only the raw material for collagen, but also guards who prevent it from being destroyed prematurely. Have you ever wondered why some people age gracefully, maintaining both strength and vitality well into their later years, while others seem to decline more rapidly? Genetics plays a role, yes, but so does nutrient synergy. Those who naturally or deliberately combine protein with antioxidant-rich foods give their bodies a constant edge against the wear and tear of time. The empowering insight here is this: you don't need exotic interventions to fight aging. You need to understand how nature designed food. The best sources of protein don't just build, they protect, and by weaving them into your meals consistently, you create a shield for your muscles, your brain, your skin, and your future. At this point, we've explored the science of protein-rich superfoods, their density, their role in neurotransmitters, the timing of intake, their effects on the gut-brain axis, and their synergy with antioxidants. But here's the critical truth: knowledge without action doesn't transform your health. What matters most is how you take these insights and lock them into your daily life so they become effortless habits. Behavioral science gives us a powerful framework here. One of the most effective strategies is called habit stacking, linking a new behavior to one you already do consistently. For example, if you already make coffee in the morning, add a habit of blending in a protein-rich smoothie or preparing a boiled egg and quinoa bowl while your coffee brews. By attaching the new habit to an old one, your brain requires far less willpower to follow through. Here's what the research shows: repetition in the same context is what wires new neural circuits. The basal ganglia, the part of your brain that automates routines, doesn't distinguish between helpful and unhelpful habits. It simply reinforces whatever is repeated. That means the fastest way to build a protein-focused lifestyle is to attach it to rituals that already exist in your day. Another behavioral tool is environmental design. We tend to eat what's visible and accessible. If spirulina powder is hidden in the back of a cabinet, you're unlikely to use it. But if it's on the counter next to your blender, it becomes a natural part of your breakfast routine. If quinoa is pre-cooked and ready in the fridge, it's far more likely to end up on your plate than if it requires 30 minutes of cooking at the end of a long day. The principle here is simple: make the healthy choice the easy choice. Accountability is another lever. Sharing your goal of including more protein-rich superfoods with a friend or family member increases follow-through dramatically. Behavioral psychologists call this the commitment effect. When your intention is visible to others, your brain perceives a higher cost to not following through. Something as simple as telling your spouse, "I'm adding quinoa to our dinners this week," or posting your spirulina smoothie to a group chat can create a powerful sense of momentum. Here are steps of practical protocol you can start today. Pick one meal. Breakfast is ideal. Add one protein-rich superfood: spirulina in a smoothie, quinoa in a porridge, or lentils in a savory bowl. Stack it with an existing habit, making coffee, journaling, or checking your phone. Keep it visible. Store the ingredients where you can see them. Track it for 7 days. Even a simple check mark on a calendar. What's happening in your brain when you track progress is a small dopamine release, reinforcing the behavior loop and making you more likely to repeat it. Over time, that loop shifts from conscious effort to automatic routine. Let me ask you, which is more powerful: trying to overhaul your entire diet overnight, or making one small protein-rich upgrade and repeating it until it's second nature? Behavioral science is clear. Small, consistent changes compound into massive outcomes. And here's the empowering insight: every time you choose to anchor protein-rich, antioxidant-packed foods into your day, you're not just building muscle or fueling your brain, you're shaping your identity. You're telling yourself, "I am someone who invests in resilience, longevity, and energy." And that identity shift is what sustains change for the long run. If this kind of practical, science-driven tool is helping you, hit the like button. It lets us know to keep bringing you strategies that not only explain the science, but help you live it every single day. We began this journey with a surprising insight. There are superfoods that provide more protein per gram than eggs, foods like spirulina, quinoa, and lentils. But what makes them truly remarkable is not only their protein density, it's the way they interact with your brain, your gut, your muscles, and your cells to slow aging and extend vitality. Let's just quickly recap the key ideas. First, protein density beyond eggs reminds us that variety matters. Spirulina and quinoa don't just fuel muscles, they protect your cells with antioxidants and micronutrients. Second, amino acids in the brain taught us that protein isn't just about strength, it's about focus, mood, and resilience. Every bite of protein is fuel for neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. Third, timing is everything highlighted the importance of when you eat. Protein at breakfast and post-activity primes your muscles and brain for energy, repair, and clarity. Fourth, the gut-brain axis showed us how protein-rich superfoods shape your microbiome and how your microbiome in turn shapes your mood, immunity, and cognition. Fifth, the synergy of antioxidants and protein revealed a formula for longevity: rebuild with amino acids, protect with antioxidants. Together, they don't just slow aging, they transform the way you age. And sixth, behavioral tools reminded us that change sticks when it's simple. Habit stacking, environmental design, and accountability allow you to transform insights into daily actions that become effortless over time. Now, here's the bigger picture. Aging isn't just a countdown of years. It's a process of choices, repeated every day. The food you choose at breakfast, the way you distribute your protein, the meals you design to nourish both muscles and microbes, these are votes you cast for your future self. Over time, those votes add up. They shape not just your body, but your energy, your confidence, your independence, and even the way you show up for the people you love. Here's a simple challenge I invite you to try starting today. For the next 7 days, choose one meal, ideally breakfast, and anchor a protein-rich superfood into it. Whether it's quinoa porridge, a spirulina smoothie, or a lentil bowl, make that one small, deliberate upgrade. Track it, notice how you feel, and watch the compounding effect over a single week. You may find your focus sharper, your energy more stable, and your mood more resilient. And remember this, health isn't built in grand gestures, it's built in small, consistent actions. Every protein-rich meal, every antioxidant-packed food, every mindful choice is a brick in the foundation of a longer, stronger, more vibrant life. So as you move forward, carry this insight. You are not just eating for today, you are building your brain, your body, and your future. And that future can be more powerful, more resilient, and more fulfilling than you may have imagined. If this video gave you valuable tools, I invite you to like, comment, and subscribe, not just as a transaction, but as a way of joining a community dedicated to using science to live with greater vitality, clarity, and purpose. Because together, we're not just learning how to fight aging, we're learning how to thrive through it.